Hi, Bill Henshaw here again, another one of my ongoing videos with news and current events. And this one is a combination. It's the ongoing George Floyd trial right now. And the idiot defense attorney there gets up and says that, Chauvin did nothing more as a law enforcement thug than what he was trained to do. If I'm sitting there in the jury box, God help him, I would have broke out laughing. I would have told him to get the hell out of the courtroom. We don't even need to go back in to make any decisions. Chauvin's guilty as charged, and maybe with second degree, if not first degree murder. I don't see how in the world this can be anywhere near justified in the system we are supposed to have that respects human life and dignity and all human life, not just BLM, Black Lives Matter, ALM, all lives matter. This in a system which functions on the principle of NLM, no lives matter, except for those possibly in the immediate environs of Broadway, New York, where the New York banksters are. They think their lives matter, but yours and ours don't. So here we go. And we'll see before the trial's over. I'm a little surprised there is one. I suspect that they might strike a plea bargain deal rather than let it go to a jury, but we'll see how that plays out. But that said, a more recent episode directly related to this just came out. And you had people just like what happened in Minneapolis watching George Floyd get murdered. You had people in Washington, D.C. watching two teenage girls, ages 13 and 14, murder an Uber driver. Just stood there, did nothing, photographed the scene, and not a damn thing. That to me is actively aiding and abetting. And people like that should be charged just as I think they should have been in Minneapolis. But the bigger question is, how does this happen? Now, I won't say this was unheard of in the days of my youth back in the 50s, but I certainly was never aware of anything like this type of going on. It just didn't. I mean, even if the system functioned pretty much as it does today, it's much more overtly now quite apparent that the government doesn't respect any life whatsoever. They think all that's been done with the 14th War Amendment, and I keep saying this, is that, yeah, it made everybody equal, not by raising the freedmen up to our level, which could not have been done by that amendment, but by reducing all of us to theirs. So therefore, what happens is that lawful de jure, jus sanguinis, free white state citizens are reduced to the status of what the government considers guardian and ward, but which really functions quite a bit like master and slave without these bastards saying it. What changes were there? What benefits were there with civil rights? Are you listening out there, Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton? Can you explain that to me? Why you use this crap? Damn. But this is how, in a system that breeds not only no respect for life, but utter contempt for it, even in the mandatory public education system, in which they don't teach you a damn thing about what the Constitution and history of the United States really is. By the way, to do that, send me an email, youwinincourt@gmail.com, information on my modestly priced constitutional defense document packets. And I've got 5 decades in here with intense, passionate, and independent research of the subject matter that'll get you acquainted with it in a hurry with a little serious study on your part. Won't take you 10,000 hours like what it took me. That's the whole point. You can get there a lot quicker than that. But then back in the day, we didn't have internet and stuff. When I started in the mid 80s, it was a lot harder to research. But I got it done. I stayed with it, and it's what I was put here to do. Would have been nice if I had been taught 50 years ago in the school system. Life would have been different, and who knows what changes might have been made, especially with more of us doing it earlier on. In fact, I would suggest respectfully that instead of being a stupid, ignorant idiot like I was at the age of 19, volunteered into the U.S. Marine Corps at the height of the Tet Offensive, only to have my dearly beloved mom place a curse on the Marine Corps and said, "You're not going to get him." And they didn't. Shortest tour of duty in history of the Marine Corps, 3 hours. I would have been out there actively challenging the authority of the government to even enter the Vietnam War, which wasn't a war, it was a UN peacekeeping effort, for those of you who don't know. And the UN is a creature of the one world types, unilateralists and people like that, trilateralists. That's their baby. Keep all these war crap stuff going on. The Vietnam War, the Korean War, Desert Storm, all of this crap up to the present time, all of it. Even with Gong and North Korea. Now, how long is it going to take us to beat those bastards if they declare war on us? What do you think? 3 hours? 4? Yeah? 8? It's going to be over. There's no point in doing it unless we go through another Korea scenario again and make it look like something it isn't. But come on, give me a break here. But this is what this government breeds. And by doing that, they can then practice, it's much more easy for them to practice divide and conquer, which they've been doing for at least 150 years, and keeping everybody down, by using the War Acts of Congress and civil rights to make it appear like there's real justice out there when there isn't anything remotely related to it. That's what we have to stop and work all together. Americans, Asians, and Africans across the board. We get rid of these bastards a lot quicker and get back to government we should have, which may never have been perfect to start with. There's no serious dispute about that. But without the compromises that were made there, those of you who know the history like I do, we would never have had the United States and never have had the only nation ordained and established where we can make a difference. If we still have a constitution, and that's the direct question I'm asking the 9 old farts every time I'm going to be going there. If we have rights and you have to rule in our favor that we have a constitution and the government can't do this. That's the whole point. Don't know if I'll get there at my age. I've got a good 8 or 10 years here. But I'll tell you what, at 72, my life is ahead of me. And that's saying a lot. And that's why I feel so good. I look so good. I mean, I have meaning in life long after a lot of people have long since given up 30 or 40 years in some cases. Not me. I'm out there trying to make up for lost time here. Would have loved to started out this journey 50, 55 years ago, but better late than never. And I can help you get there. Like I say, send me an email, youwinnincourt@gmail.com. I'll send you information on my materials. And note, by the way, in passing, these are good for just about every kind of run-in you're going to have with government, whether it's the friggin' IRS, the FTB here in California, the DMV, you name it. Mortgage banksters, that's a big one because mortgage banksters can't risk having to take us on and getting one of our issues ruled on, especially by the Supreme Court. And we have multiple issues, covers all 6 articles of the Constitution. We win one of them, and they're out of there. Mortgage is dead in the water. They were null and void from day one. The mortgage bankers do it, but they conveniently forgot to tell you about it. At common law, that's deceit, fraud, and treason. And not only that, they don't have any consideration on their side of that agreement. All they do is punch type a few keyboard strokes on there and put money, quote unquote, in your account in undefined dollars. And now they want to come and take 30 years, sometimes longer than that, of your property in the form of your time and labor to repay, quote unquote, the mortgage, which you're not doing, as you'll learn by getting my materials. That's not how it works. So that said, well, keep you abreast of the events going on in Minneapolis. And we'll see what happens with this situation in Washington, D.C. Probably none of the bystanders are going to get charged there, and they damn well should be, as far as I'm personally concerned, especially with 13 and 14-year-old girls, even if they had tasers. I mean, you don't step in there and take some action to preserve human life. What the hell kind of a society do we have today? My goodness. In any event, as I said, be sure to like the video, subscribe, tell your friends, get the word out. The more of us that work together, the quicker we get these bastards out of there and get our government back. Thank you.